welcome to episode 5 of the Staycation Summer Series, an exploration of New Brunswick. I'm Jenna Morton.
And I'm Tosh Taylor. Each week this summer, we're inviting a new guest to show and share their love for this province.
And we have been joined by some of the best local ambassadors from Sussex to Miramichi to Bathurst, St. John, and now today we have a fantastic guest with us to share another bit about their community.
We are going to head to one of New Brunswick's most incredible destinations, Campobello Island, with our virtual guide, Stephanie Anthony, one of the founders of the island's Sea Glass Festival. Welcome to the Pickle Planet Staycation Summer Series.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. We're really excited about this.
Sea glass is, as you can see here, my passion. I filled my house, so I had to expand.
You had to do something to show it off, obviously. Yeah.
Get other people down here to get some of that sea glass so I don't have to haul all of it home.
Not a bad idea. So, Stephanie, why don't we start things off with a little bit of a geography lesson? Where exactly is Campobello Island, and what's it like to live there?
We're one of the little sister islands, Deer Island, Craven Ann, and Campobello. And we're the one that's connected by bridge to Lubec, Maine. So we have an international bridge and an international park featuring the Roosevelt Cottage. And so it's a little bit unique in that we, especially during these times where our bridge and border made things a little more difficult, but it's a very small fishing community. We've got, just scenery and beaches galore, and just it's a beautiful place to grow up.
And a bunch of sea glass too, obviously.
A bunch of sea glass. There are so many different kinds of beaches. Like if you're craving, like you want to do some rocking or some mudlarking or some little fine, smooth gems, you just pick which corner of the island you're going to.
It's so fantastic. And I've been following along on Instagram, the Sea Glass Festival account.
Thank you.
And the finds that you share. Oh my goodness. It's just like constantly just amazes me, the pieces that wash ashore there.
And I started beachcombing, well, a little bit in my teens, but more in my early 20s. And mid-40s now, I'm finding better pieces now than when I started 20-some years ago. So it doesn't get old, it gets more exciting as I get older.
Do you think that's when, like, because you're learning more about it, so you start to learn, like, what is the, kind of like the rare ones and what have you? Mm-hmm. I know my daughter found some old pieces of pottery, and that's where I'm like, oh, I like the broken dishes and stuff, right? Like, because to me, I'm like, oh, that must mean a shipwreck.
Mm-hmm. A shipwreck, or around here, I think people just, threw their garbage off the wharves when they broke a dish, off it went. And when I pick up a piece of that old pottery, like you say, I think, I wonder whose place setting this was, because around here, it's entirely possible it was one of my ancestors' place settings that they threw off the wharf when, Dad broke it by mistake or something. So, or maybe it was Eleanor Roosevelt's. So that's exciting too.
That's one of the key parts of Campobello Island that I think most people know about, at least. Can you tell us a little bit more about the connection with Roosevelt?
He started coming here when he was just a really young boy. His family owned a cottage here, and they just were part of that Boston and New York society that came for the whole summer. They brought, trunks, and they came by train or ship, and they brought, help with them and the whole family. And then the dads kind of came up on the odd weekend when they could get away from the office, kind of thing. And Franklin Roosevelt just loved the island so much that he continued the tradition of staying on and brought his family here. And then they donated the buildings, that were all part of that. There's, a number of buildings just perfectly preserved, and made it into a park that we can all see and enjoy, and nature trails and the whole 9 yards there.
That's really cool. It's such a neat story for, this little island in New Brunswick, which is amazing. And I know a lot of people probably, because you have the bridge to the States, a lot of people, I think, are thinking that it's actually an American island, but it's not. I also have heard that a lot of Americans think it's theirs too.
Yes. And the park is absolutely international, but we are still in Canada. We have workers from both sides of the bridge that work there. And of course, we're all families here on both sides of the bridge. We've intermarried and things over the years and relied on one another. We share, if our fire department needs help, and we're back and forth and stuff like that a lot. So it is kind of like being an international island, but nope, it's Canada, as we've found out, definitively lately.
Yeah, 100%. What are some other things that draw people to the island?
I think a lot of whale watching, bird watching, stuff like that. It's the natural stuff here. People aren't coming for, neon signs and attractions and rides, that's for sure. But that being said, kids have an amazing time here. There's a wonderful provincial park and campground that's attached to the biggest beach on the island. And, things like that. That's what's drawing people here. Just the ferry ride alone getting here. You might see whales or seals and you're going by a huge whirlpool that's famous, and it's just an adventure even getting here, let alone once you get here.
For anyone who hasn't been there before, can you tell us a little bit about that journey? What does it take to get to Campobello Island this summer?
It's not simple, that's for sure. And it kind of makes it more worthwhile. Unless you have a reason to be coming through the bridge, that's not an option right now. So the ferry is the option, and it really is the best option coming from Canada. You pick up a different ferry from the mainland and get to Deer Island. And then you drive across Deer Island and get to the other end and take a smaller ferry to get to Campobello. And it's not quick and it's not simple, but it's a beautiful drive, it's a beautiful ride. And they let you off right at the beach where there's sea glass. So
I mean, really, can you go wrong with that?
you can't go wrong.
How long are the ferry rides?
They're less than a half an hour each.
Okay.
Just about there, right around there. It's not long, and it's on nice days it's a beautiful trip. We had some mainland errands to do last week, and we went up and we picked the best day weather-wise to do it, and it was just flat, calm, and sunshine and birds, and you can see that there's a big cruise ship docking at Eastport right now, so that's kind of a new tourist draw for us, a new sight to see.
Perfect. Okay, so what hidden gems are there to explore? Like, I know that obviously you're big into sea glass. Which beach is your favorite? Or do you want to give up that secret? Because I know that beach glass combers don't like to share.
I do have a few favorite. Of course, some of the favorites are ones that are easily accessed by the public. You kind of have to live here to get it, or have a boat. A lot of my sea glassing, I have to take a boat to do to get to other beaches. And but that being said, Pollock Cove, they have a restaurant and cottages right there. It's one of an easy access beach with a lot of good sea glass, and a lot of the tourists, they find that readily because it's just at their doorstep when they're staying at Pollock Cove Cottages and are eating at the restaurant right down there. Really nice spot. Sunsets, whales, sea glass, all in one spot.
It's like a dream.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Not in the winter. Although it is nice and quiet.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
Yeah, we did our best beach combing this year in March and April. It was a quiet time in between fishing seasons and stuff like that. And things, of course, were locked down a bit and nobody was here. So every beach we went to was absolutely empty. And, it was good for the soul, really.
It's a very meditative thing, I
I think
find.
so.
To
Yeah.
walk the beach looking for things, and then I love just holding them as you walk along, and
Yep.
that idea of thinking of who is connected to it and how the journey that this little item has gone through is just fascinating.
And how it survived. Like, I can't even wash dishes without breaking a glass. So how do these things survive? Decades, sometimes longer, rolling around down there. I don't know.
That's a really good point, actually. I never thought of that.
They must have made things better back then. Because I still find like whole bottles and stuff, you find the antique bottles, and it's just, how does that make it?
And I love the stoppers. You find a lot of stoppers,
Yes,
which is something
yes, I've got a
yet to
handful right
discover.
here, actually. Here's a couple that we've found over the years. Two of
No
there's
way.
brown. We've got a few different colors.
Those are so cool.
Oh, purple. That one's a little bit purple compared to the others.
Oh,
And these, like you say, they were just stoppers for glass bottles, before they had corks and before we had screw off tops. This was how people kept their liquids from getting out, or maybe the fizz from getting out on certain bottles too. And they just threw them, I'm guessing, because I find them all the time.
so
Unreal.
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. And marbles, we find a lot of marbles too. And some of those, some were maybe planted in more recent decades for people to find. But some of them we find are really well washed and really, like you say, tell the whole story if you could only figure it out.
Yeah, if they had a name on them or something, right? Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Little code to scan, we could just.
Yeah. Jenna and I are both history buffs. So I can just I can feel how cool it must be to be on the island, and even just weave your own tales of each piece of whatever is found or what's done. But is there a historic story or historic fact about the island that you love the most?
It's hard to beat, a president liking it so much. He's designated, for us and to enjoy and loved us all. That is one of my favorite parts of Campobello Island for sure. But it's the quiet moments, the lighthouses, and the stories they tell for sure. My mom can remember spending a night as a little girl with one of the little girls who lived at the lighthouse, with the lighthouse keeper's family. And that was just such normal stuff. My great grandparents used to row my grandfather across in a dory to school every morning from where they live. It's that kind of history, like you say, and it's the local history and the fact that most of us are still here living somewhat those same ways and in those same traditions. They're all still heading off from the wharf each morning and things like that. So that's what I love about here, I think, the most.
When it comes to historical properties, you've talked about the Roosevelt homes, but there's some other well-known places as well on
Yeah.
the island.
You got the Owen House, which is just a great, charming gem of a place. It's just a small portion, although it's huge, of what was originally the Owen homestead and hotel that they had here on the island. They were some of the original settlers and owners of the island, the Owens, over from England. And there's a lot of history there, and that's in the kind of the Welch Pool area with our historic library that was built in 1898. Fundraised by some local women who started it in the corner of their living room, and they were determined to have a library building, and they got it. And stuff like, there's a lot of history, a lot of buildings. St. Anne's Church is just a gorgeous piece of architecture on Campobello. It just amazes me every time I walk in.
Okay, so let's break it down. If someone's coming to visit you, where are you taking them to eat? Where are you taking them to spend the night?
Things aren't all open here, and it's hard to pick just one place because I have friends and family who work in all of them.
You can pick
or
more
I've
than
worked
one.
in all of them.
That's fine.
Let's talk about all of them then.
Right now we have 2 restaurants open. We have the Herring Cove Golf Course Restaurant, which is attached to the golf course, but it's a public restaurant. It's open every single day, even now, and just great food, takeout, whatever you want. And we also have a food truck open on the island that is a huge local favorite. That's Vay's Takeaway. So that right now are our 2 options, and we literally just swap back and forth. My son asked me today, can you bring me some takeout to work? So we just go back and forth between the 2 because they're both great.
I am a sucker for a food truck. Yeah. I love food trucks.
Definitely good local fill you up food. For places to stay, we've got both motels open right now, and we have I would say probably half a dozen or more charming little cottages, Airbnb spots, stuff like that. The Owen House is not going to be open this summer. That's a bed and breakfast. They've decided just to wait and see, but there are enough places, including the campground, which is huge, clean, and so much fun to stay that, families or couples, there's something for everyone.
Fantastic. It's my hope to get there this summer.
I hope you too. And if you can please message me and I'll tell you some more good spots to check out. Where all the extra sea glasses.
She'll lend you her rowboat so you can get to those secret beaches, I think.
Right on.
I want to know, before we let you go, because we are running out of time, I just want to ask you, what makes you so proud to be a New Brunswicker and an Islander?
You can't deny we have done amazingly well in these times. We have, and part of that is, we're the last to get anything, so we've had a chance to really see how things are going. We've also really drawn together, which I've seen happen over and over again. We are small communities here in the Maritimes, but we're really close. Whether it's the whole Atlantic bubble or just our own province, we have a lot of resources, we have a lot of love. I'm very proud to be a New Brunswicker and a Canadian.
Me too. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for your time. And again, we need to tell people about your Sea Glass Festival. So how can people, like Jenna said, she's following you on Instagram. Let's give everybody your handle so that they can start following too. This
is still the first year. Last year was our soft opening, and we've got Instagram and Facebook pages where we post pictures, drool-worthy content often as possible. We're having a kind of modified Sea Glass Festival this year. It's free, as was last year. Instead of one weekend, we're going to spread it out over the whole month of September with no actual gatherings, no groups or whatever, no hands-on stuff. So it's just, we're inviting people to come message the page for tips and hints. We're going to put a map for the whole month of September with some special spots, and we're just going to make a big, long, extended party out of it.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
No, I love it.
And if anyone does come to the island, during that month of September or before, they are absolutely welcome and free to message us with any questions, where to find or how to get into different places. We're happy to help.
Fantastic. It's you can feel the warm, welcoming vibe already, which you don't always get from an island community.
We try really hard.
I say that as one who grew up on an island.
Yeah.
Which island did you grow up on?
I grew up in Cape Breton Island, on Bullendree Island, within Cape Breton Island.
So you're back there. We have our annual Fog Fest coming up in just a couple of weeks. We're on year number 8, and that's free as always, and going to be half and half online this year. So everyone should keep an eye on that too, because we're going to have a lot of content that people normally wouldn't be able to see unless they came here for it. So keep an eye on the Campobello Fog Fest page, because there will be live performances and streaming and stuff like that very soon.
Well, I'm excited to get over there. I think Jenna's probably going to beat me over there because they're already making their plans. But I have the rest of my life to discover this province, and I am super excited to make that a part of it. So again, Stephanie, thank you so much for spending your time with us today, teaching us about your beautiful island, how to get there, and the fact that it is definitely a Canadian island.
It's definitely worth the hassle. Campobello, worth the hassle.
Sure.
Your theme.
That's a great tagline.
That's fantastic. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.